There is no dishonor in losing the race. There is only dishonor in not racing because you are afraid to lose. It takes courage, bravery, and motivation to continue in any race in life. And from time to time, it is good to pause and sharpen one's skills through the guidance of a mentor. And today we have among us a great mentor. It is my honor to introduce Brigadier Ajit Apte. Sir, may I have your permission to begin? Thank you, sir. Brigadier Ajit Apte is an alumnus from NDA Karakwasla. He has participated in Indo-Pak War of 1971, both in eastern and western sectors. He has seen active operational services in Jammu and Kashmir and the counter-insurgency involvement in the northeast like Nagaland, Mizoram and Tripura. He was commanded as an artillery regiment and an artillery brigade in the western sector, and he has held various instructional and staff assignments at army headquarters. He was Brigadier General Staff at the School of Artillery Devlali, where he was responsible for the operations training and interactions with foreign military training delegations. He has completed long gunnery staff course in the Indian Army, which is equivalent to MSc in Weapon Technology, and is an MDBA in Personnel Management and Human Resource from SIMS, Pune. He has also completed a research fellowship in the National Security Perspective for India in Southeast Asia with special reference to Sino-Myanmar Alliance from Pune University. He is also on national panel as a cricket commentator in English with All India Radio. I now request sir to kindly address the new batch.
Good afternoon, my dear friends. I am indeed very happy to be here with a new batch, and I am very thankful to Dr. Professor Jay Marwa and his team of faculty and all the other staff, Arpit and everyone else, madam, who have been inviting me here every year. And I think this is the 6th year I am coming now to address this induction batch every year. And I know you are the future leaders of this country, and I wish you all good luck. You are all graduates. You have all come here to do your MBA or MDBA, and therefore sharpen your skills to take your correct place in the corporate segment of our great nation. Let me tell you, we all do our work. We are all doing something for the nation. We are all contributing in our own significant way, whether it is in the armed forces, whether it is in the government service, whether it is in the private sector, whether even if it is a person who is sweeping the floor, he is also contributing to keeping the place clean, to ensure that all workplaces are maintained with the correct dignity, decorum and discipline. These are the 3 hallmarks of what you are expected to achieve or what you are expected to strive for as you grow and take up your places in different segments of the corporate society. So at the outset, I wish to tell you that you are very lucky to have been selected for a very prestigious institution like where you are sitting today. It gives you the correct platform to launch yourself, to become leaders, and one day rise to senior positions in the corporate sector. We have a very distinguished guest sitting here who has completed nearly 40 years. He is sitting next to Professor Marwa. He has also contributed significantly in his own way by being in the corporate sector, something which you all should emulate as in times to come when you interact with this very senior gentleman. As you know, I served in the Indian Army for 36 years nearly. I have had no regrets. I have had a wonderful innings. I was lucky to fight the 71 war. So, command of troops later, command of troops in battle is something which is a very unique experience. It has taught us. After that, I served in the corporate for nearly 9 years. I've been vice president, head of HR and administration in two companies, one multinational, Emphasis Hewlett Packard, and another one, Deepak Nitrite. Then I was with the British Business Group. I still am with them. And now, as he has brought out, I'm president of a new company. So I do feel that it's a correct blend for me, having seen the military life, having seen the hardship there, having seen what the nation is all about, what is nation building, what are we here to achieve. You people are on the threshold of starting your careers. How many of you are here in this hall today who have worked earlier, who have some work experience? Is there anyone? Very good. So I take it the others don't have any work experience. Am I right? Okay, doesn't matter. So what I want to tell you is, first of all, you relax. You are all smartly dressed, smartly turned out, and that's a very good thing. You just relax, enjoy your session with me. I want to put you at ease. I want you to understand what I am here today for. Today is your first day of the starting of the new session. So you are all competing with each other. Competition is good. It is required. But it should be a healthy competition, a healthy rivalry, which should develop into strong bonds of friendship and association. When I joined, has any one of you been to the National Defence Academy at Khadakwasla? No one. Have you heard about it? Yes, sir. Have you seen some pictures about it? I will urge Dr. Marwa to one day plan a visit, which I can organize as a regular curriculum, a visit to the NDA. It is one of the finest military establishments in the world. It surpasses the West Point of the USA. It surpasses the Sandhurst of the UK. And the Australian National Defence Academy was built on the lines of the NDA Khadakwasla. And I know that because I was a cadet here in 1966-67 when the Australian government had come. And later I had the excellent opportunity of visiting the Australian National Defence Academy in Canberra when I went to Australia while I was in the army in the year 2002. So that Dr. Jay should be a curriculum. Many institutes do it. They'll get to understand what is the whole establishment about. That is one. I've had a wonderful equation with your director, Professor Dr. Marwa's father. He and I were cadets together in the National Defence Academy nearly 50 years ago. We trained together. His father is a very illustrious person, so is his mother, just as he is. And just imagine our bonds of friendship have gone through the 1971 war. We have served together and our friendship still continues. So what you build here today, what you forge here today is something which you are going to carry forward in your lives henceforth. Remember this. That is point number one. I want you to remember this. In our country, at least in the army, I have seen there is no caste creed. We don't denominate that. I fought the 1971 war with Dogra troops. I was just 20 years plus when I went to war. I have seen people being killed around me. I have killed a lot of people by my artillery shelling, and I realized the miseries of war. I have lost a first cousin, my brother. He was a fighter pilot in the Indian Air Force. He was killed in action on the first day of the 71 war. He left behind a newly married girl. He was married only for 8 months. So my sister-in-law was just 21 when my cousin was killed in action. He was a fighter pilot. My father was in the army during the Second World War. He also retired as a brigadier. So we come from a defense background and we come from a corporate background also. Both my brothers were very senior in the corporate. One in the Citibank, he retired as the Asia Pacific CEO for Citibank, and the other person retired as the head with HDFC with Mr. Deepak Parekh. So it's a blend. In fact, after the 71 war, we were all bachelors, and when somebody asked us when we became 25 or 26 years of age, generally they ask, na, would you like to get married? Am I right or wrong? ऐसा होता है, they ask you. So in our times, very few girls wanted to marry defense officers because of the war. So in the matrimonial columns, it used to come out, all that they give, wanted this, that and all, and defense officers need not apply. So that was a matter of great insult to us. But finally, I got married to a corporate person's daughter. So a lot of people in the army, when I was instructor in the academy, said, sir, do girls marry defense officers? I said, well, I don't know, but I have just got married. And I said, my wife, I think, married me because she knows defense officers obey orders very well. They take commands very well. So the girls, I think, find that easier. They, as it is, control the husbands. But it's easier to control an army officer because he learns how to obey orders implicitly. Am I right, young ladies? Kya nahi? That's good. So it's been a good life. One has sailed through. I have now been working for about 45 years. It's been a wonderful experience. So the bonds that you all sit here today in this room and you will function like this for the next 1 year, capitalize on it. I have seen it happening during the 71 war when my old friends from NDA, they helped us out in war, whether we were Army, Navy or Air Force. So that is my first message to you is, relax, enjoy yourselves, learn, become good leaders for your organizations and for the country. A new government has come. They have made significant changes in the economic policies, in the investment policies. Our Prime Minister is already saying, make in India. Am I right? So he is trying to bring a new dimensional change. He's trying to change the contours and shapes of business, of governance, of industry, of employment, of education. We are all learning. Even I am learning. So my next message to you is, never think that you have learnt everything. You have not. We are learning. Even today I am learning from my granddaughter. You will not believe it. I don't know how to take a selfie. This is a new thing now. I don't know it. But my granddaughter, who is just 4 years old, showed me, Nana, and she tells me also, she said, you don't know anything. So I said, ठीक है भाई, we don't know anything. So she tells me and my wife, we have one granddaughter. She says, Nani, you also don't know anything, and Nana also doesn't know anything. So she told us everything. So I realized we are still learning. So my message to you is, learning curve is never completed. When you when you finish your MBA program, you will go through a series where, people will come here to do your campus placement. Am I right, madam? And there will be a feverish activity, who has got placed on day 0, day 1, whatever it is. My daughter did her MBA from SIMS about 12 years ago, so I know it. I was that time just after the Kargil war, commanding a brigade during the Kargil war. When she sent me, in those days there were no mobiles. At least we in the army didn't have mobiles. So she sent me a telegram that she has been placed with a company called Mahindra British Telecom, which I think now is Tech Mahindra. So I didn't understand anything. And then when I came on leave, she told me everything, so I realized. Then I was very happy, just like your parents, your whosoever. Any one of you married in this gathering? Either you are shy to put your hand up in case you are married, or probably you are not too sure whether you are married. So I take it that there are no married people out here. So your spouses will be happy, your parents will be happy, your brothers, sisters will be happy when you get placed. But I want to tell you, don't let it affect you that he has got placed and I have not got placed. It will happen. Everyone will get placed. So my second message to you is, don't become tense. Do your job, be professionally competent. When you step in, my experience in the army and in the corporate sector is, you must know your job. You must know your profession very well. You must be willing to learn. You must be willing to participate. You must be willing to help. You must be willing to form part of a team. You must be able to guide your senior, your team leader, how to take decisions. What is a decision mechanism? All this is required. Above all, integrity has to be unquestionable, unflinching, unswerving loyalty to your organization, to your seniors, to your peers, and to your subordinates. It is absolutely unparalleled. Let me tell you that. I have seen this in battle in 71. I have seen it in battle in Kargil. I was a brigade commander on the Western Front. Let me tell you, I have served with one of the finest troops in the world. And let me tell you today also, unhesitatingly, I will tell you, having been in uniform for nearly 40 years, the Indian Army and the Indian soldier is one of the finest in the world. It is well acknowledged. This country has always relied heavily upon the Indian armed forces, whether it be in times of external conflict or internal disorder. All governments, whether they be this or this, I will not name them, because sometimes most of the governments in our country are all a khichdi of a number of parties and they keep switching over sides, so I will not name any party, have always relied heavily on the Indian armed forces. Whether it is line of control action, whether it is a little child falling into a well, you call the army out, whether it is riots in the valley, whether it is a landslide, whether it is floods, whatever it be, it is always the Indian Army, Navy and the Air Force which is called out. If there is trouble in Bombay, there are bomb blasts. I have myself been there in aid to civil authorities in 93. The Indian Army is always called out to aid the police. Why are they called out? They are called out because they have displayed national character, national integrity, sovereignty and dedication to the nation of the highest order, which is unparalleled, let me tell you, in any walk of life. I am absolutely 110% sure of this. I am making this statement having served in the corporate for nearly 10 years. I will put it down in any ink that you want, that the actions and the behavior of the Indian Armed Forces cannot be touched by any corporate environment. And now I am coming to that next point which I want to tell you. Why I am making this statement is, there are always black sheep everywhere in society. But when I speak of loyalty, integrity and dedication to your particular profession or whatever you are doing, please desist from being disloyal to your organization. Now I am coming to a slightly different part, because I have been head of HR at country level. I have seen resumes and CVs, let me tell you that. And I have seen the amount of cheating which takes place in the resumes, how people bluff, how people inflate CVs. I have come across people whom I have selected, and when given a task, they say, sorry sir, I know I had put it in my resume, but frankly I don't know a damn thing about this. I think that is cheating of the highest order. I have seen people who take your offer letters. Why I am talking to you is because you are on the threshold of being commissioned into corporate service within 1 year from now. People take an offer letter from a company and then they don't join that. They show that offer letter to someone else and say, I am getting X lakhs as a CTC. They were giving me a rise of 20%. Now you give me a rise of 25%. I think it's downright cheating. And I have sacked people within 24 hours from my company who have done this. And I'm sorry to tell you, but this doesn't take place only at the junior level. I have seen senior vice presidents doing it and they've been thrown out. I have seen this happening in my own company. So I'm trying to tell you this as a caution. Please ingrain this in yourselves. Whatever resumes you make are realistic, are true, and have integrity of the highest order. Because let me tell you, you will be caught. There's a very good saying, you can fool some people sometimes, you can fool some people all the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. So be very truthful to yourself, what you are putting down on your CV and what you are capable of doing. If you read the Economic Times and the papers, there are chairmen and managing directors of companies who have been thrown out. It's in the papers. You read this company, Faber-Castell. Have you all heard of it? See it. You will get to know what the heads of companies are doing. And he has been sued for 75 crores. So my message to you is, your integrity and your loyalty is unquestionable. Let me tell you that. If we find in any company a guy is trying to act extra smart, he'll be out, believe me. So I'm not scaring you, but I'm telling you very honestly that this is something which needs to be taken care of. Next is, don't be worried about your appraisals. I've seen this. I'm giving you my first-hand experience of being at very high positions in the corporate. Performance management systems, don't let them deter your performance capability. Why did he get outstanding? Why has she got above outstanding? What is so great in this girl? What is not good in me? The boss likes her, the boss likes him. Forget about it. You do your job, you do your work, you will be rewarded adequately. So don't get into that. The rat race starts because if you get a high performer, then you will get 12% hike. The other person will get only 8% hike. So don't forget about that. You do your work, you will be adequately rewarded. Finally, I want to tell you, young boys and girls, that there are, the road to success is built milestone by milestone. It cannot be built in one day. Select your targets. I never realized that I will be a brigadier. The Chief of Army Staff, who is now a Minister of State, V.K. Singh, is my batchmate from the NDA, Khadakwasla. We fought the 71 war together. I had dinner with him when he was the Army Chief. We had no regrets. We always believe the best man reaches the top. It doesn't mean that those who don't reach the top are not good. The difference is only 18, 19 and 20. Everyone can't reach the top. There is place only for one man. If too many people sit on the top at Mount Everest, one of them will fall down. So, the road to success is built milestone by milestone. Everyone is good. No one is useless. I'll give you a classic example. If you have a white board, you have that white marker board. You all are aware of that white marker board? I give you a pencil. What is your name, young lady? Pawar. Where are you from? Great. If I give you a pencil, normal pencil, and I tell you to write on that white surface, will it write? It will not write. So is that pencil useless? Okay, good. Sit down. But if I give you a colo marker pen, will it write on that white surface? It will write? Okay. Why will it write? Because you have applied the correct material to be put on that board. So, sit down. What I am trying to bring out is, when you become leaders, select your people for the right job, have the right man or woman. A guy who does not know anything about IT, don't make him an IT in charge, because that will be disaster. Correct? If that person knows excellently about advertisement, then put him onto that. What I'm trying to say is, no one is useless. You have to do your correct SWOT analysis and pick the right man for the right job. Clear? No one is useless. This, look to the center, you see this beautifully polished floor, tiles are beautiful, have a look. This hall is beautiful. I put 6 nice spherical balls out here and make them roll up to that door. You all have started from day 0. How many of you will become CEOs and MDs at the door? We don't know. All of you are good. All the surfaces look good. But when you roll the balls, if there is even a small stone or a small pebble, it will hit one of the balls. The ball which does not have maximum resistance will reach the end there in one good piece. All others, even if there is a piece of dirt or something, will abrase the surface of the ball and they will slowly start slowing down in their speed. The lesson is, everyone who chooses a path, there may be somebody who will have minimum hurdles, he will reach the farthest. The person who has got maximum hurdles on his path may land up only finishing here, but doesn't mean he is useless. He is good. Unfortunately, he came across a lot of hurdles in his path. Clear? So, don't underestimate your colleagues. Don't think you are an extra smart person, that is why you have reached there and the others have fallen aside. No. It is just that you were lucky that you had minimum resistance in your path, so you reached there. So always have a helping hand to the people who have not been able to keep pace with you. You get the point? It's very important in life. This is my personal experience. I am telling you, when we were in school, and I passed out of school nearly 50 years ago, we had a brilliant boy, you will not believe it. He was always a topper in our class. Unfortunately, he had only his mother who was looking after him, and the poor mother didn't have enough money. I am talking of 1963-64. That mother worked as a nurse to bring up this boy. He was brilliant. Believe me, in my class, if I was in the first 10, this guy never left his first or second position. I was lucky, I got through to NDA, joined the army, and then it was smooth sailing like many of us. One of my classmates today is with the United Nations, World Bank in New York. Another of my colleagues retired as Asia Pacific CEO for Citibank from Japan. One of my classmates today, I think he's retired now, Shiv Shankar Menon was India's foreign secretary. Am I right? Shiv Shankar Menon is my classmate. But this poor brilliant guy, when I met him some 30 years ago, he was a clerk in the LIC office. I felt very sad. I met him again about 6 months back. I said, yaar, he said, yaar, ab kya kare? Zindagi aisi hai. He had to look after his mother, poor chap. And then, it's a struggle. So, despite his brilliance, he did not do certain things which we had told him. So, those things which I am telling you today are, do not only be academically brilliant. You have to be an all-rounder. You have to be an all-rounder in the sense that you should be good in your work, you should be good in communications, You should be good in accepting additional responsibilities willingly. In the army, we call something known as residual combat potential. Jay, am I okay for time? So, where is my friend Arpit? Arpit, kahan hai bhai? Anyway, one of you, I think my time is still 5. So at 15 minutes to 5, somebody should show me. I don't want to overshoot and bore you people. So, there is something known as residual combat potential. What is it? Anyone? Man with the turban. Sardar Sahab, aap, हाँ. बोलिए, first your name. Very good. Bhopal. Great. What do you understand by residual combat potential? No idea. Anyone? Any guess? Okay. What is residual combat potential? Have you heard of running the extra mile or accepting stretched targets? Especially those who have worked earlier in some company. Somebody raised her or his hand out here who has worked in some company. Okay. Residual combat potential is that ability, that inner strength in you, that when you have been given a task to perform, you perform it, but you are told, okay friend, thank you, you have done this, but I want you to go another 5 kilometers and do this additional task. And then you can't say, अरे हम तो थक गए, आपने तो बोला था सर इधर ही जाना है, अभी और कहाँ, ये सर कल करेंगे. ये नहीं चलेगा. I will give you an example, live example of residual combat potential. During the Kargil war, there was one regiment which came under my command. I was commanding an artillery brigade on the western front. We were on the international border, poised to attack Pakistan if Vajpayee ji declared war across the whole country. We were ready for it. I was already on the line of on the international border. My artillery brigade with 115 guns, and not just rifles, but guns means barrel at that curtain, and the gun somewhere where madam is sitting. Each gun was that big. Have you heard of Bofors guns? Okay. So we were there on the western front when a regiment came under my command from, you heard of Tiger Hill? Okay. So that one field regiment came under my command, and I saw one officer. Of course, the peak of the Kargil war was over, but we were expecting a Pakistan retaliation in case General Musharraf, got slightly wonky in his head. He might have done that. So I saw one officer limping, and he couldn't salute. So his commanding officer told me, he said, sir, if you permit, can he salute with the left hand? I said, yes, of course. Tell him don't salute also. It makes no difference to me. He was badly injured, and I came to know that he had a machine gun burst in his right thigh. Gildyal was his name. Gildyal belonged to the Gadwal Hills. Anyone from Gadwal out here? Great. What is your name? अरे थोड़ा ऊंचा बोलो, वो तो इतना हीरो आदमी था, आप ऊंचा बोलो ना, बोलो. Great. Okay. Good. This guy was from the Gadwal region, and what a gallant officer he was. I'll tell you what happened. They were attacking a picket on the way to Tiger Hill at 14,000 feet. The company commander got killed. Major Manoj Pandey. If ever you go to, you would have seen Manoj Pandey enclave near the main street. Anyone from Pune out here, local? None. So there's a place. So Major Manoj Pandey was killed, and Captain Gildyal, artillery officer from my regiment, took over command of that company and led the attack. And they had, in a company of 120, 50 people killed, oblique wounded. So with 65 or 70 people, they attacked 2,000 feet up and they captured the post. When they captured the post, they were told that there was a Pakistani picket at 18,000 feet, which if they don't clear, then they will bring down fire the next morning once it is daylight. So Gildyal was asked to capture that picket. Now the normal rules are that any combat force which has attacked uphill at that height of 14,000 feet requires a break of 24 hours. We are all human beings. But they said, how quickly can you do it? There were already 50% casualties, and to induct a new company up at 14,000 feet to do that task at 18,000 feet is difficult. It will take time. Gildyal accepted that responsibility. With one wound in his leg, with 50 people killed or wounded, he launched the attack in early hours at 4 o'clock in the morning, and with further more casualties, with just about 20% of the company remaining, they captured the picket and threw the Pakistanis out. That is called residual combat potential. Have you all understood what is residual combat potential? काम आपको दिया है वो आपने बढ़िया कर दिया है. हमने आपको एक्स्ट्रा काम दिया, आप बोल दिया नहीं साहब अभी तो हम थक गए. अभी सर एक्चुअली तो किताब में लिखा है कि 12 घंटे का तो आराम करना चाहिए, 50 लोग तो वैसे ही ख़त्म हो गए. अब क्या करेंगे साहब, हमने तो आपने जो हमको टास्क दिया वो हमने कर दिया, अभी आप हमको इसी के ऊपर दे दीजिए. अबव एक्सपेक्टेशन, फार अबव एक्सपेक्टेशन. In corporate language, that is what goes on. Sir, I need a bonus. Sir, I need 2 days break to be with my family. I have to take them to Goa. ऐसा नहीं चलेगा. Clear what is residual combat potential? The other meaning of residual combat potential is to accept additional responsibilities willingly. In the army, we don't have a system of अभी 5 लोग attrition हो गया तो अभी भर्ती करो, recruit करो, poach from some other company, head hunting करो, नहीं चलता है उधर. A man killed in the war is gone. You can't recruit another guy there immediately. There are no recruitment drives. There is no poaching from one battalion into another battalion. You got to function. If you were 110 people, now you are only 50. The balance 60 people will do the work of 110 people. Is that point clear? That is what you should be ready to do in the corporate. All corporate environments are in excellent air-conditioned complexes, most of them. They are in the best of all the comfort zones. All team building and all that I have seen. So they are in the best of it. Fancy dress bhi ho raha hai, Valentine's Day bhi ho raha hai, Mother's Day, Father's Day, bouquets, girls meeting boys, sab badhiya hai. That when you are asked to perform, then you can't say, sir, tomorrow is my wife's birthday and day after is our wedding anniversary. So, sir, I need to go. हमारा फलाने lounge में dinner है, फलाना ये नहीं चलेगा. I have seen this happening and I have been ruthless as the vice president, head of HR. I had a lot of people coming and telling me, sir, can we work from home tomorrow? I said, bilkul nahi. I said, you want to work from home? You sit at home, don't come back to office. I don't believe in this work from home concept, unless you are authorized to do it. So I have given you an example of what is residual combat potential and what we expect. What I expected as an army officer, commanding a regiment, commanding a brigade, fighting a war. I have been on the northeastern front in counterinsurgency operations, sleeping with a Sten machine carbine under my pillow. I have been on the line of control. We've seen hardship. I've stayed in a bunker underground for 6 months, no lights. Today, youngsters can't walk from one building to another building, can't climb floors. Sir, lift kharab hai, time se aayenge, chadiye upar. What I am trying to get at is be committed to your task. Don't say ye nahi ho sakta hai, wo nahi ho sakta, you will be successful. The final thing which I want to tell you before I flash a slide to summarize what I have spoken to you, and then I'm going to show you one final bit, is on leadership. You will all be leaders one day. You will not know what position you will reach. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was selling chai. He would never have imagined that one day he'll be Prime Minister of a country. He never imagined that one day he'll be globe-trotting all over the world. you don't know what is in store for you. Maybe a future president or a prime minister of our country is sitting right in front of me out here. So, leadership is an art by itself. How do you lead your men? How do you lead your resource that is available to you? How do you keep them motivated? What is team building? How do you switch forces to boost up weaker teams? It's a game which you will do as a leader. A force is weak, I may reinforce it, I may redeploy it, because ultimately the leader wants the objectives and the targets to be achieved. Remember, in the corporate sector, unlike in the army, you are measured on your financial targets, unfortunately. And therefore, there is aggressive sales and marketing. You are measured on your Q1 to Q4 target performance. Your increments will depend on what and how much the company makes. If your leadership is dynamic, you are innovative, you think out of the box, you will produce good results, your people will be happy. But there's a subtle difference in leadership which I want to bring out, and that is, you should have the ability to instill and inspire confidence in your command, in the people you lead, in the manner that you can communicate to them effectively, articulate what you are trying to tell them, get them to believe that what the leader is saying is something which I must do. When we go to war, when we are telling 1,000 men to launch an attack on a particular picket in Pakistan, there is a surety that 100% will not come back alive. There is a surety there are no incentives and awards being given, that you will be given a bonus of 5 lakhs and all, ye nahi hota hai. People are motivated to fight and lay down their lives for the country, for the izzat of their battalion and the izzat of the flag. That is leadership. One more thing in leadership is be selfless. Don't think of your personal gains. That will come. How many cricketers are there out here? Okay. I am myself a cricketer. Have you heard of Mark Taylor, the Australian captain? Okay, I'll give you an example. They said in the 90s that Pakistan under Imran Khan was virtually an unbeatable side. And especially in Pakistan, very few countries have beaten Pakistan. Because they said, Pakistan, in lighter vein, Pakistan played with 13 players, 11 players and 2 umpires. So anyway, a time had come when Australia was batting and they had piled up a huge total, and Mark Taylor, the captain of the Australian team, was on 334 not out. He was on the same score as what Don Bradman was, the greatest cricketer, far above Sunil Gavaskar and Sachin Tendulkar, let me tell you that. And he was 334 not out when he retired. Mark Taylor was on that score. Next day, they all thought that Mark Taylor will try and get Gary Sober's record of 365. But he declared the Australian innings closed. Ravi Shastri was one of the commentators, and Ravi Shastri himself spoke to me later, because I am also a national level cricket commentator. So in one of the subsequent matches, I met Ravi. You heard of Ravi Shastri? So I asked Ravi, I said, yaar, he said, Colonel Saab, that time I was a colonel, he said, badhiya remark diya Mark Taylor ne. You know, Ravi asked him, Mark, why did you declare the innings closed? You were 31 runs from being the highest run scorer. Gary Sober 365. That time Brian Lara had not scored 375 and 400. Mark Taylor told him, he said, listen, he said, my aim is to beat Pakistan and beat Imran Khan's team on Pakistani soil. I wanted to give my bowlers a chance to bowl Pakistan out within 1 day. There was only 1 day left, 5th day of the match. He said, I am 334. When people down the line open the Australian record books, they'll find Don Bradman there 334 not out, and they'll find Mark Taylor 334 not out. He said, I don't want to go ahead of that great man Don Bradman. My team's victory is at stake, therefore I declared the innings closed. And Australia won the match. That is called leadership. We have leaders who want to get their own personal scores, 500, 600, so that मुझे कुछ मिलेगा. ऐसा मत करिए. Learn to sacrifice your self-aggrandizement for the benefit of your team. Is this point clear? That is called selfless leadership. Are there any questions so far in whatever I have said? Okay, now can you switch on that pen drive? I'll just summarize pictorially what I have told you. Then I'll show you a classic example of a film which Dr. Marwa always says I must show. Okay. So just look. You can switch off the light so that these people can see better. MBA is a springboard to leadership. Am I right, Dr. Marwa? You are grooming them to be leaders, to take their place in the corporate sector. They unfortunately can't now join the armed forces. Unfortunately. Am I right? With a little bit of, what should I say, being high-handed myself. But I have great respect for the corporate sector, so you are good, you are well placed. So, what is it that is required to be a good leader? National character, values, pride, discipline, secularism, tolerance, commitment, punctuality, economic power, safety, security, education, knowledge and development. If this is achieved in some way, everything you can't get, but if you get even something of a bit of all this, then you are on the path to good leadership. Even a jhadu wala is a good leader, provided he can deploy all his, that Swachh Bharat and all that dramabaji jo chalta hai, log mask laga ke, politicians stand with jhadus, get themselves photographed. Arnab Goswami has a debate on which jhadu was the longest and who swept the best. वो साला debate करते रहता है, उसको छोड़ो. That's all gimmicks, all money involved. Even your IPL, SHIPL is all money. So, don't go into that. Look at what I have put here. Now, next. Now, this is, I have pictorially depicted. Pardon me because of my bias to the armed forces. I can't help it. 40 years in uniform is, I think, a fairly long time. So, kindly excuse me if I have used maximum from the armed forces. When you talk of national community, national identity, religious tolerance, coherent entities, there is a classic example of how the Indian Army marches together. One is the parade of the National Defence Academy, which Dr. Marwa will organize sometime. And the other one is the Republic Day parade of the Indian Army. And this battalion in front of you is a Muslim battalion. Let me tell you that. It is a mixture of Muslims, Ahirs and Jats. That's the Rajput regiment marching. And the Indian Army is marching is one of the finest in the world. Let me tell you that. I have been to England, I have been to the US, I have been to the foreign armies, I have interacted with them. Undoubtedly, I can tell you that we are one of the finest armies in the world. And our marching is one of the finest in the world. Next. I spoke to you about professional commitment. Do your duty. There are the guns firing in the Kargil war. These are the missiles and rockets which I commanded, and down below is the Indian Air Force, second to none in the world. Let me tell you, in Pune in 2007, the US Air Force fighter combat teams had come here, and there was an exercise with the Indian Air Force called Exercise Shiksha. You will not believe it, the Indian Air Force pilots beat the US Air Force pilots. The same team went to the US and participated there. The Indian Air Force fighter pilots beat the US Air Force fighter pilots. US Army carries out counterinsurgency jungle warfare training under us at a place called Varangte in the northeast, where I have been there. Incidentally, in Iraq, when the US Army intervened in 2003, if I am not wrong, to take out Saddam Hussein, there was a request made to Prime Minister of India. If I am not wrong, it was Vajpayee ji, if I am not wrong, asking for an Indian Army division to be sent, because the US knows that the Indian Army is one of the finest in fighting in built-up areas. But we declined to participate. So what I'm trying to tell you is, if you are professionally sound and committed, you will always be respected. I was heading a delegation in Devlali. Even today we have the Singapore Army Artillery and Armored Corps training with us. I have been involved in that MOU in 2003. Singapore artillery guns are in Devlali, and that training was started when I was the Brigadier General Staff there. That is the regard they have for India's professionalism. That we don't have adequate equipment and the correct equipment due to various political situations is a different story. But if you take the man behind the machine, let me tell you, the Indian Armed Forces is one of the finest. So this is an example of our professional commitment. Next. Now this is something which I spoke about, is your resolute combat potential. This is an actual battalion in Siachen at 21,000 feet. This is how the men operate to safeguard the territorial integrity of the country. While you and I sleep, go to parties, go on our scooters and motorcycles without helmets, with our girlfriends or boyfriends, the Indian Army is keeping vigil at 21,000 feet round the clock. This is a patrol in minus 38 degrees Celsius. These men are without their families for minimum 6 months at one time. Okay, next. Residual combat potential and sustaining power. I told you there's a picket which was segregated. It had to be provided by air maintenance. Water was dropped, food was dropped at 23,000 feet by this helicopter, by the Indian Air Force. On the left side, there was an avalanche and a blizzard, yet the Indian Army erected their snow tents and continued to perform. They didn't say कि अरे भाई अभी क्या करेंगे, आज पानी नहीं है, भाई साहब आज खाना नहीं है, नहीं साहब. हमने देश का वचन लिया है देश की रक्षा करने का. We will do it at any cost. That is residual combat potential. Next. Now, this I want to tell you people that you will step into the corporate segment. You will be expected to perform in different fields. You will come under stress and strain. Keep yourselves occupied. Keep yourselves relaxed. It is required. Then only will you be able to perform to your optimum level. So relaxation, a bit of refreshment, recuperation, rehabilitation is very much essential in all walks of life. Next. This is an important thing. We need to keep sharpening our skills and competencies. So continue to keep yourself educated. Continue to participate in training programs. Continue to give your bit as part of the corporate social responsibility back to society. In the army, we have some schemes, Sadbhavana and all. Similarly, in the corporate, when I was the vice president, head of HR, we had a number of teams, and I am very happy to tell you that the participation was excellent. Remember, let's count our blessings. Today, you are wearing good saris, shirts, ties. I am wearing this. We are all in an air-conditioned environment. We all can sit down, go back, have a nice bath. Look at the poor millions who are on the footpaths, who possibly cannot have a bath for 8 to 10 days. We don't even know what water they are drinking. It's very easy for the rich to become richer, while the poor continue to be poor or even become poorer. So let us count our blessings. Don't look at what Tina Ambani is doing or what Mukesh and Anil Ambani or Adani are doing. Forget them. Even Queen Elizabeth is unhappy in Buckingham Palace because she also feels that she could have done with one more bathroom and one more bedroom. It doesn't happen. There's no limit to being unhappy. So count our blessings. That is very, very important. Don't look whether a guy is wearing good shoes. Look at the guy who doesn't have feet to put on shoes. Go to the artificial limb center where you will see soldiers without limbs. I have served under an army commander during the Kargil war. He had no legs. He performed, he became a lieutenant general. I'm going to show you a film of a legless pilot. True story. Next. Swachh Bharat, Clean Bharat. I purposely put this because Prime Minister Modi and his honorable team of ministers have been prophesizing this Swachh Bharat, Clean Bharat. He did not mean only clean the streets. He said also clean your minds and become less corrupt. Corruption will not go in one day or 1 year. It will take time. But let us clean. Let us follow the traffic rules. I am horrified to tell you that in my own society I found a young girl working with a good company. I will not tell you the name. Educated girl on her scooter without a helmet taking a right turn when she should have gone to the left. When I told her, you can't turn to the right, she smiled at me. And when I went, she still took the wrong turn. So what do you say? Educated people working in corporate companies, if they can break the rules, break the traffic lights, what do you expect from the poor people who are uneducated, illiterate? So build up in yourself an element of self-discipline. Next. I want to tell you that nothing is impossible. Everything is possible. Here is an actual team of soldiers who has been given a task to move up. They will gradually move up. If it is possible, it will be done immediately. The impossible may take longer, but it will be done. Ability to inspire faith, confidence, desire and energy in people to be interested, stimulated and committed to perform a task, achieve goals and objectives. That is what is leadership. Next. Make in India. I don't have to repeat this. You are the people who are going to make it in India. You are the people who are going to ensure that the foreign direct investments, that the economic progress, that all money which is going into wrong hands is brought in correctly under the influence of one financial power, that people pay their income taxes, that people don't hoodwink, and therefore maximum money is brought back into circulation. Make in India, business excellence. President Abdul Kalam is a classic example. I have been very closely been close to him when he was the President of India, and I salute that great man. He's doing a lot of things. Our country has done a lot of things. Let's just harness this potential and this power together to make it a great nation. And as I said, a future Prime Minister and President is sitting right here in front of me. Next. Ask not what the country can do for you, ask what you can do for the country. This is a very famous thing President John F. Kennedy said when he became the President of the United States of America. It's a matter of pity that in our country, none of the politicians have ever served in the armed forces. In USA, except for Bill Clinton and down the line, all other presidents are ex-Army, Navy or Air Force. I have selected these pictures from the 1971 war from my album taken by my camera. There were no digital cameras, nothing. I had to bring back the film after the war to get it developed in Calcutta, which took nearly 3 months after that. These are actual pictures of what we did, and we never asked what the country can do for us. We said what we can do for the country, and we gave you 95,000 prisoners on a plate and dismembered Pakistan's eastern wing to form a new country called Bangladesh. And I'm happy I was part of that team. Next. Ultimately, it is your responsibility to keep the national flag flying high. It is our duty to ensure the safety and sovereignty of our nation and keep the flag always flying high. Whether you're in the armed forces, whether you're in the corporate sector, don't bring any disrepute to yourselves, to your families, to your companies, to your CEOs, to your managing directors, and indirectly don't bring any disrepute to your country. Any questions so far? Okay. Now I'm going to close this. Sorry. Now I'm going to show you a small clip. It's a true story of leadership. And what I want to tell you is, everyone can perform. In a nutshell, during the Second World War, there was a fighter pilot by the name of Douglas Bader. He lost both his legs in an air training combat exercise in 1932. So he was boarded out from the Royal Air Force because you can't fly if you don't have legs. He had 10 legs. I told you I have served under a general who had no legs. He was an Aund. He was my army commander during the Kargil war. There's another Major General Ian Anthony Joseph Cardozo. He has no legs. He commanded a division. So no one is handicapped. We are only, people only become differently abled. You understand that? Here is a pilot. His name was Wing Commander Douglas Bader. He crashed, both his legs gone, they were amputated. He got artificial legs. And that of course is a different story, that he was looked after by a nurse and therefore he fell in love with her and married her subsequently. When the Second World War broke out, Douglas Bader volunteered to fly for England. So his passion for flying, his passion for duty to the country. In fact, during the Second World War, everyone joined the British Army, Navy or Air Force. So he said he would like to fly. So they told him, no, we'll give you an administrative desk job, but you can't fly, you don't have legs. So he said, no, you give me a test. They gave him the test, he qualified. So even then some people said, don't take him, we don't know what will happen, he has no legs. But the others said, no sir, he has passed, he's flown very well. So England requires every pilot to take combat duty, so they took him. Then when the Battle of Britain started, you all have heard of Hitler, Germany's Nazi ruler who created havoc in Europe, massacred the Jews and everything. So the Royal Air Force launched attacks over France. He was given command of a squadron. And he was given a command of a squadron after he did not do well in one of the landings. He overshot the runway. So one way is, if you don't perform, you can say, sorry, you didn't do this, I gave you this task, you are useless, out you go. But that is not leadership. Leadership is the ability to give a chance to your subordinate, to mentor him. Don't write off people in 1 minute. तुमको मैंने एक task दिया, तुमने किया नहीं, get out. Out you go, next guy come in. No. उसको समझाइए. And he was given command. He himself says, sir, I made a improper landing. You are still giving me. They said, no, don't worry. We have enough faith in you. You command this squadron. They require good leadership. So he goes to command that, and people say, oh, we are getting a new leader, a new commanding officer who doesn't have legs. So one of the pilots says, oh, that means you'll be carrying a passenger. You know, कई बार आप लोग बोलते हो टीम में, अरे वो लड़की को तो कुछ भी नहीं आता है, उसको टीम लीडर बना दिया है, मतलब हम अभी बोझा उठा के चलेंगे. That's what people said. He heard that. He said, okay, I'll show you what I can do. And he demonstrates his flying capability. I can't show you the whole movie. It's a 100% true story. It's made into a movie which is 100% true. Nothing is fictitious. I'll show you a clip when he is assigned to take over command of a squadron. And in a nutshell, I'll tell you what happened. He was shot down over France. He ejected. He was commanding the squadron into France. He ejected. And he ejected because he unhooked the legs and he came down with the parachute. When the Germans captured him, they could not believe that a man without legs has flown for England. Hitler himself was so surprised that he said, the man has no legs. They said, sir, he doesn't have legs. When they asked him, he said, yeah, he unhooked the legs in the aircraft and he bailed out. He was taken to a hospital. In fact, I drove past that hospital when I went to France in 2004, Saint Omer Hospital. I just passed by it. Hitler rang up Churchill. You all have heard of Churchill? He was the Prime Minister of England. He sent a special message to Churchill, Mr. Prime Minister, I salute your pilot who has that much dedication to the nation that he has flown without legs. I hereby give you permission to fly a fresh set of legs back. And he said, no German aircraft will shoot your aircraft. We will create a corridor for safety of that aircraft to come in and drop his legs, because we salute this officer. The legs came after 2 days, made by a company called De Sutter and Company in London. And a safe corridor was given, the legs came, they were brought down. Douglas Bader got the legs. 2 days he did nothing, third day he escaped. He tied a bed sheet, escaped, and for 5 days the Germans could not find him. But they knew that a man without legs can't go much. They finally caught him. He tried to escape again. They said they'll shoot him. And then finally he was in the prisoner of war camp till the war was closed in 1945. He came back to England. He had been promoted to Group Captain Douglas Bader. He got the Distinguished Flying Cross, which is equal to the Veer Chakra of the Indian Army, twice. He got the Distinguished Service Order, which is equal to the Param Vasishtha Seva Medal, twice. The French government honored him, and even the Germans honored him. The enemy also honored him. And he was given the privilege of flying the Victory in Europe fly past by King George VI. That was Douglas Bader. He played golf, handicap 9. He played tennis with his artificial legs, and he flew for England. He came to India in 1960. He came to Bombay. He at that time left the Royal Air Force. He was with the Burma Shell Company. Earlier in our country also we had Burma Shell, you would be remembering. Then down the line it became SO and HPO, sab naam badal gaya. He came with Burma Shell. He came here to the Artificial Limb Center in Pune. That is the genesis of the ALC. That soldiers, sailors and airmen can be rehabilitated. He went to Dehradun, where he inspired the Cheshire Homes. Actually, that's another story. But what I want to tell you is that never give up. Everything is possible. This just gave you a clip, 2-3 important lessons. Look at this Douglas Bader's integrity. His boss probably didn't know that he had overshot the runway. So when they told him that you are being given a higher position, in corporate terms as a higher team leader, he says, but sir, I am surprised because this is a mistake I made. He says, no, don't worry. So you see, you got to have the courage of conviction to own up for what mistake you may have made. Sometimes it may go unnoticed, but that is your integrity. Despite that, they gave him a squadron and you saw how he led them into combat. And when he said scramble, this is a term which is used in all combat positions. Even in our Air Force, all Air Forces, our Air Force can scramble. All fighter squadrons can be airborne within 120 seconds, exactly 2 minutes. All pilots are on operational readiness. 71 war, I have experienced it. Our Air Force did a magnificent job. In fact, we knocked out the Pakistan Air Force within the first 2 days of the war. On the Eastern Front, the air superiority ratio was 8:1. For every 8 Indian aircraft in the air, there was only 1 Pakistani aircraft. On the Western Front, we neutralized the Pakistan Air Force, and that is why Pune, Bombay, and all these big cities were never air attacked by the Pakistan Air Force. The only initial bombings took place on Ambala, Halwara, and on the border, but after that, we neutralized the Pakistan Air Force. The Indian Army, Navy and Air Force have got the capability of being operationally ready Air Force within 2 minutes for a fighter mission, and the Indian Army within 6 hours we can be operationally ready to take on any combat duty. So in a nutshell, I have given you an idea how you need to be leaders. This is your first day. Enjoy yourselves, have a good time, I think you have 2 semesters or 1? 4. And I'm sure all of you will get placed well, do well. If there are any questions, I am willing to answer. Whatever I have told you, is it understood by you, or is it that anything which you would like to ask? Thank you.